Hey guys, well here we are again. Happy Thursday, and it's time for another market update and forecast on how the freight market has changed over the past week. And oh boy, do things change in a span of a week. So today let's talk about volumes, rejections, diesel prices, and then go into specifics for flatbeds, reefers, and dry vans to see where the relatively better places are for next week. Ready? Let's go! So starting off with a general overview of the freight market, let's focus on capacity first. As of last Friday, we saw a net loss of 884 carriers last week. And this is just in a span of 1 week, not a small number. And what we're seeing is that more carriers are getting rid of their authorities than entering this industry. Then we have the spot versus contract rates, and as a reminder, this data is delayed by about 2 weeks, but as of 2 weeks ago, contract carriers are earning on average 51 cents per mile more than the spot carriers. But that's not the interesting part. The interesting part is this is the smallest gap between the contract and spot market in a year. In other words, we are seeing those contract carriers get squeezed, and because of this, we can expect some more shutdowns in the coming months. Now, in terms of volumes, and I'm sorry for that writing that is blocking our perfect view here, but we're comparing to 2023 in blue, we can still see that volumes are higher than this time in 2023. However, they are on their way down. Although it's not abnormal for volumes to go down during this time of year in February. Rejection-wise, not the best news this week. Now, I keep getting comments asking, what does a rejection mean? So I'm going to quickly explain it for those that are not familiar. Rejection occurs when a contract carrier refuses for any reason to haul a contract load, which makes that contract load trickle down to the spot market, increasing load volumes on the spot market and therefore usually increasing rates. So as we can see from this chart, again, we're comparing to 2023, rejections are still way higher than this time in 2023. However, they did make a U-turn and are on their way down. Currently, we're at 5.16% rejection, a decrease of 0.24% since last week. Seriously, F diesel prices at this point, they went up by 11 cents per gallon in just a week. Currently, we're at $4.06 per gallon, which is absolutely frustrating. We are definitely feeling it. Are you guys feeling it? In general, if we look at the overview of the freight market, it definitely got worse since last week. Now let's take a look at specifics. All right, starting with dry vans, and we're looking at the spot market volume. We can see the blue bar that the spot market volume did go down week over week for dry vans. But again, it is February, and this is what February is known for. There is not enough volume to actually haul. Spot rates for dry vans decreased for a third time in a row and now are around $2.10 per mile, which is a 7-cent decrease from last week. All right, so where do you need to go in order to be in a relatively better position if you have a dry van? And we are going to look at outbound rejections, volumes. We're going to look at the head haul index, which will give us load to truck ratios, and the inbound rejection rate. So for dry vans, it's Twin Falls, Idaho, 21% rejection for outbound loads, volume of 54, more loads than trucks, and almost 19% rejection going into Idaho. Then we have Green Bay, Wisconsin, 16% rejection of loads coming out of there, volume index of 64, more loads than trucks, and 15% rejection going in. Des Moines, Iowa, 18% rejection, volume of 44, more loads than trucks, and the inbound rejection is at 12%. Now, even though these are the top 3 places relative to the rest of the market, in general, the Midwest is still a relatively better area to stick to if you have a dry van. Okay, on to reefers right now. If we take a look at the spot market volume, we can see that for the third week in a row, reefer volumes on the spot market are not just sliding down, they're kind of making huge steps down week over week. And so are rates. So currently the average rate for a reefer is $2.37 per mile. It's an 11-cent decrease since last week. And again, this is an average of all types of loads, including those very, very short ones that pay much better per mile. So the question is, where do you need to go with a reefer next week? Well, the one and only place that is relatively better to the rest of the market is Twin Falls, Idaho. 24% rejection, volume of 32, more loads than trucks, and 28% of carriers reject loads going into Idaho. Now, even though this is the relatively best place to be in for a reefer, it has gotten significantly worse since last week. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, I'm absolutely serious. Now, last week we saw Fargo, North Dakota. It still has a 38% rejection rate, but the volume is simply not there. Everywhere else is pretty much a toss-off. Either you're going to a place where there are almost no loads to choose from and you have to wait and hope that something comes out, or you're in a place where there are loads to choose from, but they pay like crap. All right, finally, we have flatbed, starting with the spot market volumes. As you can see, the spot market volumes have been flat for 4 weeks in a row. Flat like a flatbed. Yeah, I should never become a comedian. Now, rates, however, they did decrease a bit and now are around $2.37 per mile, which is about a 3-cent decrease week over week. So where do you need to go with flatbeds? As a reminder, I don't have those fancy maps, but I did make my own. So number one, let's take a look at the load map. How many loads come out of each state? So light is less loads, dark is more loads. Notable differences from last week. Texas had an increase in volume from last week, while Iowa, Washington, Idaho, Arizona, Kansas, Oklahoma, and Louisiana saw a decrease in volume. Now let's take a look at the capacity map. How many trucks are in each area? Again, light means that there are less trucks. The darker it is, the more trucks there are. Notable changes. Montana and Washington saw an increase in capacity week over week, while Utah, Arizona, Kansas, Nebraska, North Dakota, Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, Louisiana, and Alabama saw a decrease in capacity. But all of that, I mean, it's important information, but it's just partial. What we want to know is the load to truck ratios. Where are the areas where you can have better negotiating power, right? So the red areas is where there is less than 1 load per truck. Orange is 1 load, yellow is 2 loads, and green is over 3 loads per truck. So what has changed over the past week? Washington and Idaho and the Northeast, for the most part, died over the past week. What got better? Utah, Connecticut, Kentucky, and Maryland got slightly better, but be careful. Look at what they're surrounded by, because there are deadheading trucks as well. Now, the only 2 areas where there is more than 3 loads per truck is still Mississippi and Alabama. So I decided to just run all the numbers to see all the states on a national level, how many loads versus trucks there are for flatbeds, and the load to truck ratio was 0.93 on a national level, which means that on a national level, there is overcapacity when it comes to flatbeds. There's not enough volume to provide loads for all of those trucks. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I'm really hoping that these videos do help you navigate the market a little bit better. Wishing you all a fantastic weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy, and keep learning. See you in the next video.